guys, welcome to Algebra 1, Lesson 47. So as promised, we're going to talk about how to add fractions that have variables in their denominator, and they are different denominators, so you have to find the least common denominator. Remember, that's our rule for being able to add fractions. If I have fractions like this, 1/2 plus 1/4, and I want to add them, first I have to make sure they have the same denominator. So I look at my denominators, I find the smallest number that is a multiple of both or all of my denominators. So for 2 and 4, what's the least common denominator? 4, very good. So I know that this one's going to have a denominator of 4, this one will have a denominator of 4. Whatever I multiply the denominator by to get my new denominator, I have to also multiply the numerator by that same number. That's my rule. So I don't change the value of a fraction if I multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. So I multiplied 2 times 2 to get 4, so I have to multiply the numerator by 2 as well. So 1 times 2 is 2. This one, my denominator didn't change, so my numerator doesn't have to either. And now I can add them together. Well, it's the same thing if you have a letter, a variable, in your equation, in your fraction. What you have to do, excuse me, is still find the least common multiple. But remember, you're now just finding the least common multiple for an expression of both letters and variables. So we've already learned how to do that. You first find your number, your least common multiple of your number, then you find your least common multiple of your letters, which is all the letters, the greatest number of times they've been used. Here, your least common multiple for your number is 4. Your least common multiple for your letters is B. So that means the new denominator has to be 4B, because 4 is for the number, B is for the letters. So I have 2 fractions that are now going to be 4B. Okay, to get this new denominator, I multiplied the first fraction just by the letter B to get it to be 4B. So I multiply my numerator just by B. So it becomes, 3B. Here I multiplied my denominator by 4 to get to 4B from B. So I multiplied my numerator by 4 as well. 2 times 4 is 8. And now I can combine them and add them up. 3B plus 8, I can't simplify them anymore, over 4B. All right, let's try another one. 4 over B plus 1 over C plus 1 over 2. So I want to find the least common multiple. Well, let me start by putting out that I have 3 fractions that I'm going to be adding together. All right. For my numbers, my least common multiple is the 2. For my letters, I have 1B and 1C, so I need it all. 2BC. Because it's each letter, the greatest number of times it's been used. They're only used once, so 2, B, and C. So what did I multiply this one by to get to 2BC? Well, I already had the B, so I only multiplied it by 2C. So 4 times 2C, 4 times 2 is 8, so it is 8C. This one, I multiplied my C by 2B to get 2BC, so 1 times 2B is 2B. This one, I just multiplied it by BC, so 1 times BC is BC. Now I add it all together, 8C plus 2B plus BC over 2BC. So far, so good, right? You got it? Okay, keep hanging in there. 5 over X plus X over B plus A over C. I have 3 fractions I'm adding together. Let's find the least common denominator. Well, I need each of the letters the greatest number of times that they appear. Different letters for each one. They each appear only once, so I need each letter. I'm going to put them in alphabetical order. B, C, X is going to be my new denominator. So I multiply this X by BC to get BCX. So I multiply my numerator by BC, 5BC. I multiply B by by C and X. So X times CX is CX, not CXX, CX squared. Because I have two X's, so I can use my exponent, CX squared. Then A over C, I multiplied it by BX to get BCX. So it's A, B, X. So add that together, I have 5BC plus CX squared plus ABX over BCX. Okay, let's try a couple more examples. Okay, let us continue with these last three examples and then you'll go to your practice. M over C cubed plus 4 over C squared minus 6. Well, the easiest thing to do when you see a whole number is to go ahead and change it to a fraction by putting it over 1. So now everything is a fraction. That makes it a little easier to work with. So now I'm going to write that I need 3 fraction bars. This one has plus, this one has minus in between. And now I'm going to find my new fractions. So I need each variable, each number, the greatest number of times it's used. So I have C's. Here it's used 3 times, here it's used 2 times, so C3 is bigger. And 1, it doesn't really count because 1 times anything is still itself, so we don't worry about that as a numerical factor. So it's just our C3, that's it. So C3 is all we have, so that's what our common denominator is. We didn't have to multiply this denominator by anything, so M stays the same. Here I had to multiply C squared by C to get one more C, so it becomes C3. So I multiply by top by C as well, it becomes 4C. Here I had to multiply 1 times C3 to get to C3. So I have to multiply 6 times C3 as well. Now I can add M plus 4C minus 6C3 over C3, or C cubed. Okay, let's try the next one. P over 4 minus A over 2 plus C over B. I have 3 fractions, so I'm going to go ahead and put my 3 fraction bars with the right signs in between them. Now let's start with our numbers. What's the least common multiple for 4 and 2? 4. So I know that the number part of my new denominator is 4. Letters, I only have B, so that makes it easy. So it has to be 4B. So I multiply this first fraction by B to get 4B. So I multiply my numerator. And it becomes PB or BP, either one, minus, oops, the rest of these are also 4B, excuse me. So this one, this 2, what did I multiply 2 by to get 4B? Well, by 2 to get 4 and by B to get B. So I multiplied my denominator by 4B, or excuse me, by 2B. I need to multiply my numerator, my A, by 2B as well. So that will give me 2AB, since I decided to write that in alphabetical order. Here I have 4B, I have B here, so I multiplied it by 4 to get 4B. So I multiply by my C by 4 as well and get 4C. Now I can combine it to be PB minus 2AB plus 4C over 4B. Okay? One more example and then you'll do your practice. A over c squared plus 3 over 4c cubed plus m over 3c4. So I have three fractions. Let's start with our numbers. 4 and 3. What's their least common multiple? 12. Good. So I know the number is 12. For the letters, well, I just have C, and the greatest exponent is 4. So it should be 12C4. All right. Now I multiply my c squared by what to get 12c4? Well, I had to multiply by 12 to get the 12 and by 2 c's to get to c4. So I multiplied it by 12c squared. So I have to multiply my a by 12c squared to get 12ac squared. I multiply 4c cubed by what to get 12c4? Well, I have to multiply my 4 by 3. You can, by the way, write it like I'm about to do so that it's easier to see. 4 by 3, and my C3 by just C to go up from 3 to 4. So I multiplied the my old numerator, by 3C. That gives me 9C. Now for this particular fraction, 3C4, I already have a C4, so what did I multiply the 3 by? I multiplied by 4 to get to 12. So I'm going to multiply my m by 4 to give me 4m. So I would write that out as 12ac squared plus 9c plus 4m over 12c4. Okay, go ahead and pause now and do your practice. Okay, you should be back from your practice. The answer to letter A, should be 20y plus 4x plus xy over 4xy. Letter B, C plus 10 plus 4x over 4. Letter C, A, C3 plus M4 plus XMC3 over C3M4. Letter B, letter D, MP plus 3 minus 4P3 over P3. All right, that is it for today's lesson. Let me know if you have any questions. Finish your problem set and you're good to go. See you in our next lesson. Bye.